First up, a huge thank you to Panenka Bar and Grill for supporting the channel. You can find us there before every home game and post game, either celebrating or drowning our sorrows. It's a great premium bar and it's situated less than half a mile from beautiful downtown Bramall Lane.
Also, a huge thank you to Parrot Peel. They are a virtual band who create innovative musical experiences just for you. But you already knew that, didn't you? We've been talking about them for long enough. But please do go to parrotpeel.com and check them out because they are awesome.
Ale, ale, ale. Ale, ale, ale. Ale, ale, ale.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sheffield United Way. The numbers are going up. Thank God for that, because I was just looking at my phone and it said we weren't live. So I'm glad that we are now. We are going to be talking about Danny Ings and Nathan Redmond, both training with Sheffield United. Not entirely sure what I think about this, but we'll soon find out from obviously both myself and Ollie, because we're back together since the breaking down of the car on the way to Swansea.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, 9 days since then. And yeah, I'm finally ready to be in your presence again after such a long and trying day for us both, sat in a McDonald's dinner service station for 4.5 hours. But, you know, we got through 20 nuggets. We both had a nice meal. We had some McFlurries. We had a lovely time, really, didn't we?
We did, and do you know what? When you spend a lot of time with someone, quite often, you just get kind of fed up with them. And I didn't feel like I got fed up with you, believe it or not. Oh, wow.
No, me neither, Nick. Me neither.
I wish I'd not. Yeah, I wish I'd not opened that box, but let's move on. Anyway, thank you for joining me, Ollie. Do you know what? It's exciting. It's exciting that we're bringing in players finally. It's exciting that we are linked, and not just linked, they're actually training with us, these players, apparently. Hal did a video on Ben Mee training with the Blades recently. He's not signed as of yet. There's a chance that none of these players actually sign, but also there's bags and bags of experience and Premier League games in these three players, obviously, Ben Mee and the two that we're going to be talking about today. Now, firstly, which one do you want to talk about first, Ollie?
Let's do Danny Ings first. He's the more exciting, isn't he, of the two?
So you're leaving the less exciting to the end, so people don't hang on to the end of the video. Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is
you've got a lot to learn about this now. YouTube stuff.
I've always been rubbish at YouTube, Nick. You know that.
But you're good at talking and you're very knowledgeable, so that's why you are here. Now, let's talk about Danny Ings and Oliver. 33-year-old striker, apparently worth 2.1 million euros. That's according to FotMob. And he is a free agent, just been let go by West Ham. Why has he been let go by West Ham, Ollie? Is it because he's not scored many goals for a long time?
Yeah, I mean, it's because since signing for West Ham in 2022, he scored 4 in 52. I think that might be the reason that they decided they didn't want to take him on any further in the Premier League. Obviously, completely different level. They are playing in the Premier League. They've spent tens of millions of pounds on players like Nicholas Füllkrug, who are always going to be ahead of him in the pecking order. He's coming to the stage of his career where to continue to be a top player in the Premier League is really difficult. And clearly, West Ham don't think he's at the level anymore to be able to score goals in the Premier League. I would suggest his recent record backs that up, and he's not been able to kick on. He's not been able to have an impact off the bench. He's not started many games with his goal record. It's not fantastic. So I can see why they might not think he's a great option for them in the Premier League, particularly for where they're looking at the minute. And maybe he'll score more goals than the rest of their team, but, you know, with Potter in charge, what hope have they got?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, the thing is, like, they're going to need all the attackers they can get this season because they are really, really bad, and they've started the season really, really bad. Danny Ings didn't start really bad, though, because he scored a lot of goals in his career. Most notably, Southampton, 34 in 67. This is actually just, well, there's 7 goals in 24 before that on loan as well. He obviously played for Liverpool as well, so he obviously did well enough at Burnley before Liverpool to get that sort of, Liverpool spending some money on you. It's so he's been there, he's done that, and a lot of his goals, in the last, I don't know how many years, maybe 10 years, have all been Premier League goals. So I think he could be a really, really good striker for us. My problem with this is I don't necessarily think we need a striker. I think we more need creative players around the striker to create chances for the striker. However, if you're going to be playing Cannon on a wing and not through the middle, then we've only really got Campbell through the middle. One playing off the left, apparently. So it just seems like it's Campbell and nobody else. So I think Danny Ings would be a really good signing for us. I think he would score goals for us, but I want to see some more creativity, putting into this side.
Yeah, I think for me, it's a really interesting one. Wages are going to be such a huge part of it. Because if he's on a cheap deal, then giving somebody 12 months to have a go makes a lot of perfect sense. I think the real difficulty for me is, he brings in experience, which is great. Hopefully, he'll be able to help Cannon. There's a lot of conversation there about, will his experience be good for players like Cannon to learn from? Will he help Cannon develop that little bit of extra, maybe help him, develop a first touch, maybe help him sort of know where his instincts need to be in the box in terms of being able to score goals and move on to that next level in his career. So from that perspective, using him as a bit of a model, somebody that the players can learn from, it does make sense bringing him in. But if he's going to be on big wages, do we want to spend big wages on a third choice striker who, if we're being honest, we don't want playing week in, week out? He's not somebody I see coming in and really changing this team. He doesn't make me go, oh, wow, we'll be a much better team now. He makes me go, okay, we've got somebody else on the bench. And the other thing that I think we're really lacking is that if we're bringing in a striker, I think we need a different profile. When I look at Danny Ings, my first thought is he is somebody who developed his career basically based around his speed until injuries took a little bit of that away from him. And he's a good finisher who has fantastic movement in and around the box. We've got strikers who've got speed, great movement, and good finishing in and around the box. That's what Tyrese Campbell does. What do we do in terms of looking at the next option? If that isn't working, there's no space, somebody's deployed a low block, we're not able to get through them, pace doesn't matter because they're sat on the edge of their own box, and actually we're finding it really difficult to break them down. What's the different option? Where's our replacement for Kiefer Moore, ultimately, who's going to be able to do something different? And for me, Ings is a nice to have. But I think, let's be honest, United are in a bit of a mess as we sit here today. And I'm not sure a nice to have signing should be quite what I was reading about this morning.
No, but we have lost a lot of strikers as well. So it's good to see us get one through the door. I think that, he is a similar profile. You are right. But we've still got a long time until long time? Is it a long time until the end of the window? It's not that long, but it's still a lot of time. There's a lot of hours. There's a lot of minutes. And, it doesn't take that long to sign a player unless you are Sheffield United, and we are Sheffield United. But let's talk about his injuries for a second, because I was coming into this video thinking, because I've not done a lot of reading up on Danny Ings, because he kind of only came out today. But I thought the fact that he's not played many games of football or not scored many goals in the last few seasons, he's probably been out injured loads. He's 33. Quite often, when they get into the 30s, they've probably had quite a few injuries. But I'm looking through these, and this is obviously on Transfer Marks. This is the best place to really find it. But the last injury, according to Transfer Marks, is 22-23, one game missed, and that was a knee injury. I'm sorry, but you're not out with a knee injury for one game. Like, a knee injury sounds a lot worse than that. But then there was a knock for 3 games in 2021. There was a couple more injuries, but we're only like 1 in 3 games for Southampton. The last time he had 56 days was in the 18-19 season. And that was a hamstring injury. We're not fans of hamstring injuries after seeing Rhian Brewster struggle for quite a while. But he hasn't had many injuries in the past few years. And I'm touching wood right now because obviously we don't want to see that. He's 33. He's getting on a little bit. So, we don't want to see that. But it's nice to know that he's not struggled with injuries in the last few years, because I completely expected to walk into this and be out 100 days for this and 50 days for that. That's kind of a positive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely better. Obviously, he had a really bad injury back when he was at Liverpool. Obviously, he was ready to kick on his career, started looking at the England setup, potentially was looking at becoming one of England's first choice strikers when he did his ACL. That has obviously had a massive impact on his career. I think without that,
Yeah.
we're talking about a really top level striker. He's gone on and done well since then, particularly at Southampton, as we referenced. But I do think actually the fact he's not been injured and his goal record is still something like 17 goals in the last 5 seasons is a bit concerning. I think it's one of those where now he's probably struggled with falling out of favour, having better players in front of him in the Premier League, and maybe a move to the Championship is what will really reignite his career. Maybe that is something that will see him kick on and move forward. It's great that he's not injured all the time, because everybody knows that when you come to Bramall Lane, if you had a hamstring injury at Bramall Lane, you're not out 50 days, you're out 500. So it'd be quite nice to have somebody who can actually recover from these things. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. And I think he'll be a decent signing. I'd quite like to have him. I think he'll do well. But I think, I don't think it addresses any of the big concerns I've got about the squad right now. Whereas, if we move on to our second man through the door, and maybe this is why it is more exciting, I do think we have a big gap in our squad needing a winger. So who are we going to get in, Nick?
I'm going to say not this winger, though, Ale. Not this winger. Right. I tried to give you a stat that I'd half seen on Twitter earlier on. I don't know what it is. I don't want to say it on this video, but he's certainly been out for way, way, way longer than Danny Ings. And it is very worrying. Last season, he missed 62 days, which was 14 games for Burnley. The season before, hamstring injury again, 310 days, 34. Now they're Ryan Brewster numbers.
This is a Bramall Lane hamstring injury. Here we go. This is our kind of player. I can guarantee you he'll sign and Ings won't. Yeah. Do you know what? Going back years and years and years and years, I was a big fan of Nathan Redmond. He hasn't done what he probably wanted in his career. And I don't know whether that's injuries. There's a lot of days out injured over the past sort of 5 or 6 years. So obviously, Southampton, many seasons with them. Besiktas in there as well, and Burnley recently. But if you said to me, you're going to sign one of Burnley's wingers this season, Nathan Redmond wouldn't be the first player that I would be asking for. But you never know. He's still only 31. Didsy had worse injuries than this in his career, and he came on a trial, and the rest history. So, anything positive to say, Oliver? Yeah, I think there are some real positives actually with this one, because I think we've covered the negatives there. You know, it's really sad for the lad that he struggled so much with injuries and how much it's affected his career, because he did look like a huge talent at one point a few years ago. I think the big positive on this one is that I've got some friends who are Burnley fans, and I've been on a couple of Burnley forums this afternoon just to see what they were saying. And the big one really seems to be that he is somebody who was fantastic for their dressing room in terms of his experience, bringing other players through, helping them to develop. One of the things I'm worried about so much with United this season is that we have lost any kind of experience or cool heads. We've let all of our experienced players go. We've replaced everybody with teenagers. Our captain seems to just want to fight anybody and everybody who's within 5 yards of him at every opportunity that comes. So it might be quite nice to get somebody through the door who's a model professional, who apparently, for all accounts from everybody talking to Burnley, is a fantastic person to have around, and he's great in the dressing room. I think there are a lot of those intangibles that he'll be great for. He might really help Andre Brooks's development. He's another one of those who comes in to maybe help our younger players come on. The worry for me is that we need players right now who can contribute on the pitch. And I don't think we've seen anything in recent seasons from Nathan Redmond to suggest that he can contribute on the pitch. And that is the worry for me, is that are we just bringing somebody in to fill a body? And more than anything else, and I think maybe we'll want to talk a little bit more about Redmond in detail, but the overarching feeling for me today is, we talk about these two players, individuals. Danny Ings could be great. Third choice striker, could come in, get lots of goals. Nathan Redmond could be fantastic for the dressing room, bring in experience, be a really good person to have in and around the group. But it's the 25th of August. These are two free agents. They could have been training with us on the 1st of July. If we thought these were the right players for the future of Sheffield United, this could have happened 3 months ago. We are now on the 25th of August, and everybody is in full-on panic mode. Oh no, what do we do? We've started the season badly. Let's throw AI in the air. Let's throw the plans out the window. Let's panic and do anything we can do because we've got to do something. And this to me screams even more loudly into this void of our owners have no plan and no clue what they are doing. They are making this up as they go along, and they have messed it up unbelievably this summer, that we are now sat here talking about 2 players who, if we're honest, in July we wouldn't have touched with a barge pole, and we're trying to be excited about the fact that they show something different. Like, I want to be positive. I want to say Redmond is going to come in, transform Andre Brooks. Ings is going to come in, be a great option for us. And I want to be like, yes, some signings. But actually, what we're talking about right now is we've gone to the bargain bin because we've run out of plans and the owners have no clue of what they're doing.
Yes, I agree with most of that. I don't think we're trying to be excited. I think we're giving the people we're giving people honesty here. I think you've always got to look at the positives because, as I just mentioned, Didsey came in and it was a complete anomaly. And you never know. And if we're sat here absolutely slating these players, they've both got, I'm going to say great pedigree, but they've both got a lot of experience in the Premier League. Like you say, they're both in the 30s, like obviously both in the early parts of the 30s, thank God. If they were in the latter part, this would be a different sort of video. But these 2 players are going to be good for the dressing room, as you've just mentioned. Danny Ings always seems to play with a smile on his face. I quite like him as a finisher. He's not going to pick the ball up, beat 3 men and put it in the top corner, but we don't have any players that do that. So I wonder whether we're going to try a 2 up top, because at some point you've got to try something different. It's not working for Sayers. Whether he goes 3 at the back, because we're obviously bringing a lot of centre-backs in here. If Ben Mee comes in, Tanganga eventually holds that shirt up and signs that contract. We've got a lot of centre-backs. Zatterstrom, have I just said that right? Yes.
That's his name.
He looks to me like he would be perfect at the left-hand side of a back 3. So agreed. I wonder whether that's what we're looking at doing and just trying something different, because we can't keep playing the same formation week in, week out and lose week in, week out. So Ings and Campbell up front together, does it work? Ings and Cannon, maybe Ings can get something more out of Cannon, I don't know. We're yet to see what these 2 players could bring to Sheffield United if they do come in. Like we say, this might not happen. And what we'll do is we'll try and get Hal to do a video on each of these players, giving the full rundown, because me and Ollie have had not a lot of time to prepare for this video. So we have done the best what we can. And obviously these are 2 players that we know of. Like, I'm glad they're not kind of 16-year-old Bulgarian players that we've pulled from AI, because we wouldn't have a chance. This wouldn't be a video. We don't do those sorts of videos. But we do know a little bit about Ings and we know a little bit about Redmond. So hopefully you've got something out of this video. Ole, have you got anything more to say about these 2 players before we leave? Because we don't want to milk this video. Like I said, we've only known about this a couple of hours. So we've jumped on, tried to give you a little bit of our insight. And obviously we want to see what people say in the comments too.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like you say, individually, I don't mind it. I think they'll be great for the dressing room. By all accounts, both of them seem like really great human beings. When you read about them, you read about the way they've been, Danny Ings' involvement with obviously a lot of disability charities and raising money. They seem like fantastic people to have representing your football club who you want to be sort of part of and buying into. But on the pitch, I question whether or not this is where we want United to be going at the moment. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully these are the players who do come in and mark a direct change. I think moving to 3-5-2 feels almost natural, given that we've now got, well, we've gone from no centre-backs to about 712 if we get all the moves that we've talked about coming off this week. Oh, we've not got any centre-backs. Get them all. Don't worry about it. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes together. It might be we're trying a 2, but I think with a week of the transfer window left, this to me screams of panic more than it screams of a plan that's coming together.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate, completely. And I think a lot of the comments do as well. Danny's just asking about Brownhill. I don't think there's any chance in hell we get Brownhill. I think he's vying for a Premier League move, surely, because why would you want to come back down to the Championship when you were so good in it? But yeah, I just wanted to leave it there. Thank you very much, Ole. Really appreciate it. I know you've got to rush off. You've got another. What have you got to do?
I'm off doing the EFL Debate Championship pod at 5:30. So me and Gab Sutton will be live on Twitter. If anybody fancies joining me, we'll be talking a little bit about United, but also about lots of other teams across the Championship, including our opponents next week, Borough. So, if you fancy it.
Oh, I don't want to hear about Borough. They've been doing way too well for us. But yeah, thank you very much. Like I said, it's only going to be a short show tonight. Thank you, Ollie, for joining me, even though you've been really, really busy today and you're busy tonight. Go and join Ollie and listen to him talk about all things Championship. And we will catch you very, very soon. Up the Blades!
Ole, ole, ole. Ole, ole, ole.